Alright, so following the instructions in the lab book, go ahead and set up your simple initial project. Call it Camera App. As we always do, run your initial app to make sure it's going properly. And now let's go and start dumping in the instructions we need to do to get this working. Right, so by the end of this lab, you're going to learn how to make the camera work using intents. We're going to start by capturing a photo and display it in an image view. Once we've got that going, we'll work on saving it to the gallery, but let's just get this much going first. Right, so we did all of that. Now let's jump over to our Android Manifest XML and set the following permissions. So we're setting the camera permission to allow the app to access the device's camera, and then we're going to do some stuff with write external storage to set up the appropriate file paths to save the photo on the device. And we'll ensure these permissions are declared before the application tag, so let's go and do that. Alright, pretty good. As always, make sure you save everything frequently. Alright, so the next step is to go to the app level, build Gradle file inside the Android block, and make sure your view binding equals true. Now sometimes you'll get this out of the box, like when you run the wizard, and sometimes you have to go and add it in manually, so just make sure that that's there. And always sync, save and sync frequently. You want your system to go out of... basically what happens is Android Studio is quite a sophisticated piece of machinery, and there's a lot of moving gears, and you're more likely, remember sometimes in class we got little corruption issues, you're more likely to quash those out from happening if you just sync frequently. Anyway, now here we are in part 2, designing our user interfaces. So let's get over to Activity Main XML, and let's drop this XML code in your view, right? So this is actually what's going to take care of the issue of displaying your image holder and then later on your folder. So do that. Alright, pretty good. Alright, now that the permissions has been taken care of, let's move ahead to the user interface. So access your Activity Main XML, and let's drop this code in. And now let's take a look at what this is doing. So the image view displays the photo taken by the user. It has a placeholder gray background, and the button opens the camera when clicked. And next we're going to move to the main activity KT file to see how that happens. We're going to add the image placeholder string to the resource value string XML. Now I'm not sure if this is something we've done too much before. We might have touched on it, but anyway, let's go and take a look at how we do that. So resources values strings XML. So this is what's going to contain the string for your placeholder. All right. So let's understand the connection now between your activity main XML and your Kotlin logic. Yeah, I know this is something we've been talking about for a couple of weeks, but it's good to go back and reinforce the basics. So we'll explore how the XML file interacts with the Kotlin code to display the camera's output. Main activity Kotlin file describes the visual structure of your app's main screen. So nothing new there. The key elements in your activity main XML, we have an image view which displays the photo captured by the camera. Assigns a unique ID to the image view, allowing it to be referenced in the Kotlin code. The Android layout you're familiar with, and the scale and the background. So again, nothing new there. Most of the work's being done in the main activity KT file. Here's the button to trigger the camera to take a photo. And when we get to main activity KT, we're going to go and study how that logic is implemented. The main activity Kotlin file is your logic, it's your controller. It connects to the layout file using the view binding and defines the behavior or the actions done by the button and image view. Right, so we're going to initialize the view binding, and actually we're going to step through that in the debugger in a couple minutes. What I mostly want to talk about right here is the connection with the camera. Right, so that's stuff you've seen before. Here's your button to trigger the logic. The button take photo is connected to the open camera function via click listener. When the button is clicked, the camera will launch using an intent. Now here's a new thing we need to take care of before we get into main activity KT, which is enable camera support. So let's go and do that now. Alright guys, let's bring this home. We're about done now. So now you have set up all the instructions. You've updated with the most recent main activity KT, which does a lot of logging out to the Logcat, so I encourage you to study that. And you can go and read the detailed notes here on how your code is working. And now let's just double check this. I think I showed this to you already, but you need to... Now the best thing to do to actually, if you have a physical device, an Android phone, if you're an iPhone user, maybe borrow one from your friend for a couple of minutes. You won't hurt it. I actually had some problems getting it working on my laptop, but I think that's because of my Camtasia problem. and the fact that I installed some video plugins to make it work with a YouTube live stream. So I don't know. I mean, maybe not. But anyway, let's go back and look at this. Oh, actually, I removed my virtual device because I put it on my physical device. I'll just go back. Now, I don't know. I don't think it should make a difference. I was using Pixel Pro. I don't think that would have anything to do with the camera, but let's go and throw another device here. And again, one of the older ones because we don't want to run into, well, I don't know how much difference it makes. I'll go with Pixel 7 Pro, I guess, or I'll go with API 30. I'll go with Pixel 8. All right, cool. Pretty good. Yeah, that does support for Google. Well, actually, we're not doing maps anyway now, so we don't care about Google Play services. All right, let's finish this up now. Make sure our emulator is going. Now, I'm going to try to run this on the emulator. I did not get it to work before. It said it couldn't find the device. But here's one thing I need to show you first. So let's go and configure our emulator using the preferences panel as we saw before. So go to your device manager, ellipsis, edit, and then additional settings. And then for this, you can just leave the front as emulated. Well, actually, you can go either way, I guess, doesn't matter. So webcam 0 is the camera on your device. And I guess I have to turn off the camera on my Android so it doesn't get locked up. So I'm just going to stop my video for a minute. All right, I'm back. So now let's go. So we've got that fixed up. And just to be a little bit nervous and excessively cautious, let's sync everything again. We haven't changed anything. Well, I did change my emulator. Yeah, this is just telling me that because of my physical device, it's suggesting that I update to a new Android Studio, but I'm not going to do that right now. So now I have my emulator there. Yeah, so it's saying no camera app found. Now that is a fault of my laptop. It's not a fault of your, it's not a fault of the code. Now what they suggested on the Android developer site is to make sure that you have, if you go and Google this or if you search it, it might say to make sure that you have a camera app installed. However, I do have. So anyway, that wasn't the issue. That wasn't the problem. And when I did this before, it did work. It got the image from my laptop. But right now, we're going to go and observe it working on the physical device. So, I'm going to go and get rid of my emulator just to force it to go over to the physical device. Right, so I'll plug my physical device in, which I think it already is plugged in. Why is it not picking that up? Let's see. Okay, so there's my physical device. And oh, which I unplugged it, so I have to go back and reconnect it now. I replugged it when I was straightening out the wires. And I think I'm in Samsung A5. No, it's 30. I don't know. I'll try telling it it's an A15 just to get API 34. I don't know why it doesn't pick it up automatically. I thought it should, but anyway. So, let's see what happens when I run it. Device unavailable. Yeah, that's because I selected the wrong device. All right, let's try something else. So we'll say new device. Samsung A5. I was trying to remember what I did because it was working before. So what did I do before? Well, maybe it was 835. Am I plugged in? Yeah, I'm plugged in. All right, so let's try this now. So is my physical device turned on? Oh, there it is. All right, so let's try dispositioning it now. All right, so we'll run. It's still running, still launching. So now we're ready to go and take a photo. Peanut, you want to come over here and be in our photo? You look better than me. Come on. Just smile for the camera. It won't hurt you, I promise. All right, just sit here and I'm going to take your picture. Sit, 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 sit. He doesn't like having his picture taken. Peanut, can you sit still? Sorry, he ran under the table. All right, let me try me. All right, I'm getting the rear camera here. There's me. All right, guys, so as you can see, it's working, and that's about it, so go and work on that. And all the code is working, it's all correct, so go for it. Ping me on Slack if you have any problems. I will send this out now. It's going to take a while to get this uploaded to YouTube. The video will probably be ready in about 10 minutes. I should have been a movie actor. I have such good looks. And if you get it working on your device, just ping me on Slack. And actually, if you could copy and paste your logcat, because I want to compare it to my logcat to try and troubleshoot this. Because normally the way you would fix a problem like this would be if you have a known good system to compare it to. I've also put some problem determination stuff there. All right, go and work on that.